Atta boy. Yes, sir.
It's fairly easy to see barrel path on an MLB swing just because they're really, really good at what they do. And even though they're hitting it extremely hard, and also the video quality is way better in the major leagues than what we have on our phones. How do you recognize it with your younger guys, and then like being able to do a comparison, because it's not really fair when you're comparing Johnny, who's 9 years old, to Josh Donaldson, who just hit 34 jacks in Major League Baseball, than seeing 100-mile-an-hour cutters.
Yeah, for sure. I think the best way to evaluate it is, in the moment. Let's say we're in the moment. The best way to evaluate it is with video, but then at the same time, like understanding, like, uh, so let's use your example, right? Jimmy, who's 9 years old, versus Donaldson. Donaldson's his favorite player. Jimmy's, let's say he's too steep, right? He's coming too steep, being like he's coming, he's hitting on the literal top of the ball too much.
So his barrel's entering like more on top of his shoulder, like his ear, like near his ear. Like Coach Ballgame always says, it's like near your earwax, where he goes straight down on top, which is a great concept for like young guys. Like I love Coach Ballgame because he simplifies everything, and for hitting purposes, like I would not teach that to like a 15-year-old, and he says the same thing. He's like, but if I have a kid that has blue jeans and it's his first time hitting, like we got to get him to hit the ball. Like we're talking earwax, and we're going straight down to it.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just so let's say, like Jimmy has that, right? So I can compare the video. I can take video of him. I can take it from different angles. Like I take it from like 45 degrees in front, side, like we're straight across, and then behind. Um, and so then I would find, like let's say a term that Jimmy at 9 years old understands. Okay, so that's one of the things that I ask them is like, what do you want to get better at? Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Well, I want to hit more line drives, or I want to feel more balance, or I want to feel like whatever. And then I try and incorporate that in and use their language when doing the comparison, right? So let's say that again, like
Smart.
he's Donaldson does this, and you want to hit more line drives. Okay, so what does he do? What is he doing when his swing starts, right? He gets to his ready position, just like you're at. Like, what is he doing? What's the first thing that he does? Well, he does. Well, he kind of moves this way. Okay, now let's watch yours. Are you doing that? No, not as much. Okay, well let's watch, and then just like progressively build it to where like they can see the whole roadmap, right? And I think as you can do that, that really just opens the lines for the communication, and then they will be able to tell you, I was, in their own language. I've literally had a 9 year old who was in blue jeans, but like, I was too steep there. I'm like, gosh, that makes me happy to be able to hear that. But yeah, man, I think that's where it starts, right? And just younger kids look up to older guys so much, and so if you can connect
Mhm.
those dots and just like use their language, right? Or even if they haven't given you any language, like what are you trying to get what are you trying to get accomplished? Okay, there, I want them to high five the back of the baseball a little bit better. Okay, cool. So like, they're not going to understand that, so put it in terms, right? If they play football too, put it in football terms. If they are a smart kid, put it in math terms. Like what, like same kind of thing, right? Like if I mean, one of the most successful hitters I had loved math, and all we did was talk about geometry and trigonometry. And I'm dumb with math. I hate math, right? But like, he
You found the
understood.
language.
Yeah, 100%. Finding the language, and then finding like a comparison of like, hey, he's this guy's doing this too. He does a little bit differently than you, but he's that same move that you're wanting, he does. So how is he getting there? Well, I'm not really sure. Okay, well let's dive into it, right? Always asking the why, because truthfully, um, identifying the what or being critical, like finding something that's wrong, like toddlers do that, right? My 3-year old can do that. But asking the why, and then building the how together, that's that's where it really comes from and comes down to, right? So that's how I would do it, and that's how I would suggest, other people doing it, is just learning the language, learning that kid's language, and then understanding like, this is what I'm trying to get them to do, but then I'm also going to be patient and understand that they may not get it done in this hour, or they may not get it done in these 30 minutes. But what are some things that like I can help them have success to where they want to come back, and they want to continue to have success, so we can continue to build on it, right? and just getting people to buy in that this is a process.
Yep.
If I could give it to you in an hour, I'd be a billionaire at this point, you know, like, and so it's a process. And so I think that, I think sometimes the hardest people are the parents, right? Because they think it's and not in a bad way, right? I'm a parent, like, and I'm gonna screw stuff up like that too, like, but it's like there's no two swings. And so one of the things that I try and do at the end of a lesson or end of a a game or end of a practice is I have those guys go back and tell their parents what they worked on. Not my words, right? I'm not in it. I'm not talking about it. So I'm like, you need to explain to your dad or your mom what all that means.
That's what you have to do in the learning process.
Because like
You have to identify who you trust and what resources you like. Then you have a consuming part, which is basically the lesson itself. And then you have the teaching part where you have to teach it to somebody else, because if you're able to teach it, you know it. And again, it's being willing not to screw up, because like that's what happens. Like when I first started out with lessons, I would be like, all right, so this is what we're gonna do, this drill, and the kid's like, what drill is that? And I was like, we just did this like 2 weeks ago, bro. Like, how do we not know? And I started realizing that it's my problem. I didn't tell them, you have to go teach this to somebody else. You have to go explain this to somebody else. So that's a really good point. I like how you're saying, like, let's go talk to the parents and explain it to your mom or dad about what you learned.
If they can explain it, even just basic rudimentary levels, one, it makes the parent understand I just like I can trust this person a little bit more. And then two, like, it gives them confidence that their kid can produce it, right? Because and I'm sure, you've seen this, other coaches have seen this, like a lot of times you're not the kid's first hitting instructor, pitching instructor, fielding instructor. A lot of times you're not the first one. So you got to earn that trust a little bit. And for them to be able to come out and tell their parent 3 to 4 to 5 things, and then you could sit there like, okay, well, how are you going to practice that? Well, this really helped me, and this really helped me feel good here and helped me do it. And then you just get out of the way, right? So I think that's you just have to involve people in their own development. And that's one of the things that I tell people in the get-go. If you want a to-do list, if you want somebody to just tell you what to do, then let's just be done right now, and I'll give you your money back, right? Whether that's a team, whether that's a lesson, whatever it is, it's like I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you learn how to do it, right? And that's really what it comes down to for me. So I think what you're saying is it's that process, that 3-step process, 4-step process has to happen, or you're just taking people's money, right? And that's not what people are about.
Catch new episodes of the Tiger Interview Series on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and you can watch it on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to get notified of future episodes by setting notifications to all. And check out our website, rawlingstigers.com, for club baseball and softball information.